Hello and welcome to another exciting video. Today's topic we will be discussing state management with nested objects. We'll do this by going through the app I built, React app that manages a user's profile with nested attributes. It'll allow you to update profile information, including nested fields, in an immutable manner. This kind of goes over the quick setup instructions with we won't do, and immutability is good for these objects. Um, it will save a ton of resources and prevent rendering errors and things like that. So user profile.jsx contains the HTML styling structure of the form. Let's look at that right quick. Initially, I made a little goof up and put the function in here. You're not supposed to do that. Um, export default so that we can use it later in app.jsx. And then the return when you call this is going to be the styling, which is the name, email, essentially what you see, switching tabs, where is it? What you see here uh, with the name and the email and the address and the city and the street and country. So going back to the README here, um, the dot dot dot, which clones the object, uh, like I said, it's creating a shallow copy of the top level user object, which preserves the name and email preview and then uh, for the address um, previewer dot address specifically dot 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 creates a new address object within that. So it's using the nested state. A lot of this is going to take a lot of practice. I feel like if somebody sat me down and was like, do this from memory, I would need a Huggies diaper, let's just say. Anyway, by spreading dot 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 previewer dot address first, it ensures that any properties and address that aren't currently changing remain intact. So another cool caveat, a sign of just the things that you need to know in order to use this effectively. But there is a rhyme and a reason to it. Um, this prevents React from losing data or failing to re-render, like I was saying, because it effectively clones the object structure before applying these changes. And well, this is a great exercise in managing state with nested objects. The app itself is essentially a flashy placeholder, and I don't know, I have one thing that really helps me when I'm doing exercises like this is like, well, why would anybody ever want this? Like, what is the purpose? And like, you know, developers actually are building things like this specifically to master the mechanics of a framework before connecting it to a real database, performing their bug testing here before they're gonna, connect it to like an API or like, connect it to like a Python or SQL or whatever they're gonna do. If you accidentally mutate the state directly, like the user address street and put a new street, React won't re-render that and the UI won't function as you want it to. And so trying this on a simple form is much safer than trying to learn it and debug it when it's all going. Um, if you did want to actually like make this more than a flashy placeholder, probably there are a couple ways you could do it, as I mentioned, like the SQL route or Python, or like a third party. But you could add like a use effect hook that saves the user object to the browser cache whenever it changes, so the data persists even after a refresh. Now, that's not a database, but like it's a little bit flashier of a placeholder anyway. Let's look at app.jsx real quick. We have three imports: the app.css, the user profile, which we just looked at, and the use state from React. The function app here, this is the main app state. Um, so we have the constant, we have the user and set user. The use state is a little bit more complicated with the nested objects. Um, the main app state is going to be something something, and yeah, I'm not going to get into all that. Then we have the local state for the form inputs. So again, I'm learning this stuff, but it is interesting how you're setting it all up, and it's all set up in the app.jsx, which is pretty convenient. I don't know when you would want it. We're going to be learning more. So we have the local state here, which is the inputs and the set inputs, the use state, and this will allow you to adjust the street, city, and country inputs. Um, and then for handling the input changes, you're using the E spread syntax, I believe is what that is. That's spread syntax, yeah. So you have set inputs. No, this is spread syntax. I don't know that that is spread. That's more like the syntax of the state. It's like the state. I don't know what you would call the E there, but that is associated with the React state. And then you're telling it to execute here, set inputs. You're cloning the inputs so that, it's just a flashy placeholder. You're not having to like re-render and like make a dead UI. Here you have the parameters target name and the target value. Here you have the immutable update function. Update address is equal to executing, is equal to doing the spread syntax. This is looking like it's going to be nested. So for set user, the previous user and the previous user is going to clone the previous user so that it keeps all the other level things intact. And then within the address you have, this will enable it so you can change one thing and everything else will still be intact. I got help with this. I have a lot to learn about syntax, and just going through and actually punching in the keys and like looking at it and thinking about it is good. But yeah, this isn't, this takes practice to do something like this. Even like getting used to the spread syntax, which is really cool. But like, yeah, just look at that. You have the closing bracket, then you have the double parenthesis. I guess it's not too much. You have the return here, which is needed. You're going to have the managing nested state. And then for the actual form itself, the input form, you have the street. The placeholder is new street. It's just going to say that. I'm not going to break it down too much more. You kind of get all that. I'll take a look. It'll make more sense. And then passing the user object as a prop, it's going to be user profile is equal to user. And so that says, hey, this is a prop, not and it's an immutable object. So let's take a look at the app itself. Let me just get rid of that. Okay. So switching my tab here. Do a quick refresh for you. So the fact, test number 1, everything loads. Test number 2, we're going to say the new, actually, here is the country. I may have made a little bit of a mistake with the country not working, but test number 1 or 2, it failed, but it's still a test. So the next thing we'll do is, what if we change the street, let's say, to Tree Frog Lane. Now, the way we set it up with the nested and the spread syntax, it shouldn't change everything else, and it doesn't, so that worked. And now if we want to say city is Yak, actually Squim. All right. So, yeah, that looks like that's working. So got the 3 main test cases, and then just like some edge cases would be, can they both change at the same time? If we refresh the page, will it reset everything? And then what happens if we don't put anything in there at all? It's blank. So those are just some edge cases there that if we were building an app, we would definitely be doing all these testing and have a nice test suite and everything. But yeah, this has been managing nested states. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.